which is Brahma Vimohana Lila. That is the last purport Srila Prabhupada himself transcribed, translated, or commented on in the purports. And in that
Guru will think that
talks about how pleased he is with South Africa. And that is that particular letter, and that particular Janamashtami festival, and that particular plan of the 10 campaign. So for me, I just saw it as a real Shakti Avesh sort of blessing, empowering the devotees to go forward in the 10 campaign.
Respecting or worshipping or honoring all the demigods.
Now, I'm so sorry. I must apologize. I see the left-hand photos are a bit distorted.
Other Hindu
not
temples,
sure
what they do,
why.
you might have heard definitely.
But here's some of the 10 campaign photos. You can see the 10s. And
Guru
it
Brahma,
wasn't
Guru
easy
Vishnu,
living,
Gurudevo
the 10
Maheshwara.
campaign. Devotees lived in the marquee, and then the Indian community was just so amazing. They would allow the devotees to come and bathe and, get ready for the day. And as I said, it was in the height of apartheid, and it was illegal for a white person to live in an Indian area. So the police were constantly hunting after Guru Maharaj, and actually they would go to the different campaigns trying to find him. So I'll share one quick story. So on one such occasion, so every time they came, Guru Maharaj would run into somebody's house and hide. And I must commend the brevity of the Indian community, because if they got caught, they would also get arrested. But nevertheless, they hid the devotees. And this one particular time, Guru Maharaj didn't have time. So he went under the 10 campaign stage, which was stacked with scaffolding. And if anybody, most of you would remember, Guru Maharaj was very slight. So he squeezed in, and the poles were cutting into him. And our lovely KZN red ants, those big ones, they were biting into him. And the Afrikaner sergeant was walking up and down right where Guru Maharaj was. And Guru Maharaj was biting down so that he doesn't scream in pain. So that's the kind of austerity Guru Maharaj endured in the 10 campaign. A lot of people today say things like, why didn't the devotees do more in the African community? But we have to understand that we lived in a apartheid government that was Christian. So unless you were a Christian white person going into a black area, that was allowed. The moment we were something else, presenting something else, it was not possible. So in that day and age, it actually wasn't possible. Thank you. So this is just some of the 10 campaign crowds. They used to get 1,000 every night, 111,000 per campaign would attend. Lots of devotees have come forward from the 10 campaign. Can we do a show of hands who came forward from the 10 campaign? Thank you. Thank you. And those of you that didn't come from the 10 campaign, I can assure you somewhere along the line, you connected to the 10 campaign. So the 10 campaign was a springboard for other programs. And one of the big ones was the Namahatas, the Sunday school, the first Rathi Yatra in Chatsworth and Tongat. And then, you can skip. Okay, that's more. Another one. And then Guru Maharaj did this healing center in Durban Central, which is really interesting because in today's terms, we'd call it outreach. Like how we go to the yoga studios and things like that. So this is Guru Maharaj's version of outreach then. If you could just go back, Prabhu. Thank you. Well, so in this photo, I'm not sure if we can see it, but on the far right is Shruti Kirti Prabhu. And Shruti Kirti Prabhu came from Guru Maharaj's university preaching. I'm just going to touch on it very quickly. Guru Maharaj pioneered the university preaching in South Africa, and many excellent first-class devotees came through, and one of them being Shruti Kirti Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Next. So I do also want to share what meticulous records Guru Maharaj kept. And this is a record of from May 1978 to May 1979. And this is funds collected and deposited into the temple bank account. So this was a net income or profit based on the following. 1, life membership. 2, incense sales. 3, film shows every 3 weeks. 4, donations every night. And this amounted to 37,600, which is 1,768,909 rands and 9 cents today. So yeah, that's pretty amazing. Next, please. Next. That's the, those are the first Rath Yatras, the ones in Chatsworth and Tongat. Next. Okay, so everybody knows about the devotees doing paintings to collect funds. But Guru Maharaj actually was doing the campaign, and he was not part of the first lot of devotees doing paintings. But when Bhagavan Prabhu came, he basically mobilized every single devotee in South Africa to collect funds. So at that time, the 10 campaign and all the preaching programs stopped because everybody focused on raising funds to the temple. And I have a bit of sad news to share with regards to that, because a few years ago, I was talking to Guru Maharaj and we were speaking about this. And I asked him, so Guru Maharaj, did we lose members, and how much? How many devotees did we lose because we stopped taking care of them? And Guru Maharaj said that we lost maybe 70%. If you look at the amount of devotees that are here today, can you imagine what the numbers were like with those 70% leaving? So that's just some really interesting things. And with regards to Guru Maharaj doing this, it wasn't his nature, but because he was asked to do it, he did it, and he did it really well. He was amongst the top 2. His team was amongst the top 2 collectors for the temple construction. So that's also something to think about, how Guru Maharaj, even though he didn't want to do it, he wasn't inclined to it, he still did it. Thank you. So going through Guru Maharaj's notes, I found some of his preaching schedule, which I'd love to share with you. And just the kind of grassroots level hard work. And I see all these senior Matajis here, and you all will have clear memories of this. Guru Maharaj going to people's houses, at least 2 houses a night before a program. During the program, then meeting people afterwards, just like how when he comes here, we line up to see him. So at these programs, they would line up to see him. And then in the program itself, he would do the famous holy name competition. He would lead the kirtan, give the talk, maybe act in the drama, just give out prasadam. So he was doing everything. And then also there was a time when he would conduct 2 or 3 namahatas per day. Per day. For those of you that run programs, think about it. 2 or 3 programs per day. That's really astounding. And also, he just invested so much with the devotees. He would phone the devotees across the country. So like I was in Cape Town, he'd phone us once a week and speak to all of us. And I know I had God sisters in Joburg. He would phone them and speak to them every week. And not only disciples, just devotees who have dedicated their lives full-time to serving. He would do that. Next, please. So arguably the most, and this is a personal opinion, the most impactful thing he did was living with the devotees. He chanted with us. He ate prasad with us. He played with us. You can't see it in this picture, but he's actually wrestling a young man, and I don't know who it is, but it's distorted, but he was wrestling there. So he played from the very beginning to the very end of our lives. Guru Maharaj has served us in that way. I think my time's up. Okay, so Guru Maharaj has really been there for us at every step of the way. You devotees, you remember, right? When Guru Maharaj was in the Dham and you would come home from work and there would be a cream envelope with beautiful calligraphy handwriting addressed to you. Our handwritten cards that we received from Sri Vrindavan Dham, hundreds of cards sent to the devotees in South Africa. And when he came back, he had tongue scrapers for us, silver-capped tulsi beads, photos of Sri Sri Radha Shamasundar. And, you know, those days there was no social media. If you didn't get an actual hard copy, there's no seeing the Lord. So the kind of connection and energy he put into connecting us is just mind-blowing. Because if we think about ourselves, can we do what he did today with all the convenience of instant communication? So I want to say that, and also you might remember his saffron stationery and receiving those letters on the saffron stationery, beautiful letters with accompanied with prayers and quotes that he encouraged us to read before we engaged in japa. Just so much of attention to detail for us to build a strong foundation in our own bhakti practice. So Guru Maharaj not only laid the foundation for ISKCON South Africa and Sri Sri Radharanath Temple, but he also laid the foundation, the devotional bhakti foundation for every devotee, that every devotee must and needs to cultivate in order to reach Sri Krishna's lotus feet. So that is Guru Maharaj. I just want to quickly mention that Guru Maharaj also preached in the following countries: Zambia, Zimbabwe, Swaziland, Indonesia. He toured the US and, of course, the Ukraine. Next, please. So there are two aspects of devotional service. One is sadhana and the other is service. We offer, here today, we offered a sliver of Guru Maharaj's seva. Really, it's just a scratch. It is important to acknowledge that while Guru Maharaj may not be appearing physically to be doing what he used to do, he still gives as much as he can. His weekly online classes, his letters. If you write to Guru Maharaj, you know you're getting a reply. He consistently sharing his realizations and his constant prayer for our well-being. I'm convinced that because of Guru Maharaj's prayers for us individually as devotees and as a community, we're able to do what we do. The prayers of the Vaishnava is the real success according to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Every day, Guru Maharaj spends 2 to 3 hours praying for and to various devotees. And we are amongst those devotees that he's praying for. So Guru Maharaj's sadhana is something even his godbrothers have prayed to follow. And I am by no means qualified to speak about it. So I can just say, like Srila Sarathi Das Goswami's sadhana was strict, like the lines on the stone. That is Guru Maharaj's sadhana. Next, please. I really wish I had more time to speak. 30 days wouldn't be enough for what Guru Maharaj has done and continues to do for us. He has changed the South African landscape. An important principle of bhakti is Kritagya, which is gratefulness and gratitude. So on this day, even though we have barely scratched the surface, my prayer is that we all feel a little more grateful to Guru Maharaj for his unprecedented service. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rasastali Dasi. It was very, very inspiring, very sweet to recollect all these wonderful memories with Guru Maharaj. His Holiness Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaja ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. So next we are very fortunate to have with us one of Guru Maharaj's very senior and very close God brothers, His Grace Ramanuja Acharya Prabhu. His Grace Ramanuja Acharya Prabhu ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. For those who don't know, we do have an international audience. Maybe some of you were not familiar, but Ramanuja Acharya Prabhu joined ISKCON when he was very, very young in the 60s. He joined in the 60s. So he's been practicing for many, many, many decades. Ramanuja Acharya Prabhu has made lots of contributions to the yatra. He's very instrumental in the development of Krishna consciousness in South Africa and shares a very close relationship with Guru Maharaj. He's very, very erudite scholar. He has a very sharp memory, very sharp memory. Recently with Anuradha Ashtami, I got to take prasadam with him, and his memory is very, very sharp. That's his humility laughing. Thank you very much, Ramanujacharya Prabhu.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhu bhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnav devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for all the fallen conditioned souls. My memory is not as sharp as it used to be. I just turned 78, and sometimes I can't remember names, and they're out there somewhere. And I know many of you to see you, but I don't remember everybody's names. And please forgive me. I actually was thinking playing a little game with myself, especially when we have a big program and you look at all the devotees and you can see, well, which ones do I know from that I've seen them around? And then which ones do I know their name? So it's because our society keeps growing, and also the devotees change their names. So I don't know everybody's names. I don't remember everyone. I was in India 1972-73. I was in Calcutta for a year with Gargamuni Prabhu, collecting for the first big building. I think it was the Lotus building in Mayapur. And I would go out, we would be collecting mostly from Marwadis. Marwadis are businessmen from Western Rajasthan, but they're like the Birlas. And they're big businessmen. But Calcutta was also a place of business. The big businesses in Calcutta are like jute and tea. And anyway, on the weekends we used to go, this Bengali devotee named Sachidananda, he made a cassette, and he's kind of famous for singing that song, Mama Mona Mondire Rohanishi Din. You've heard that, I think. Govinda Maharaj sings it sometimes. Somebody says it's a Bengali Mira Bhajan. And we would go out to Mayapur on the weekends. Oh yeah, and then it was mainly rice paddies. And there was no running water. There was a hand pump. And the toilet was a hole in the ground with chatai around it. Chatai is the mats made out of bamboo, fronds. So anyway, my visa ran out, and then I went to Nairobi for about 1.5 years, and then I told the temple president, I've had enough of the third world. I want to go back to America. So they sent me to, then it was Chavan who was the temple president. He said, why didn't you go to South Africa? It's just like America. So because South Africa had the apartheid regime, and they were not on good terms with Kenya, I couldn't get a visa in Kenya, so I had to first go to Malawi, and then from Malawi to Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe. And then I got my visa to come to South Africa. And on the questionnaire, they asked, are you of pure European descent? Because they wanted to build up the Europeans. And so we had a center in Yeovil, Johannesburg, and our temple president was Pushta Krishna Prabhu. And that's when I first met His Holiness Partha Sarathi Maharaj. And he was taking care of the Gaur-Nitai deities, and I was cooking for the devotees and the deities. And Pushta Krishna was arranging for Prabhupada's visa, but because at that time the Indian passport said valid for every country except South Africa. So it took about 2 years for Pushta Krishna to get Prabhupada's visa to come to South Africa. So ever since then, Partha Sarathi Maharaj and I have been serving Srila Prabhupada together. We're comrades in arms. Krishna tells Arjuna, armed with yoga, stand and fight. So we were serving Srila Prabhupada together, making life members, personally serving Srila Prabhupada. And then we came to Durban, and I forget it. I don't have such a sharp memory. So La Mercy, Champak Soni let us stay in his house at La Mercy Beach. And then I left, but I was always missing South Africa because, you might have heard this before, I am an Indianized Westerner, and the Indians here are Westernized. So I have a strong attachment for serving here in South Africa, and we always had, I had the association of Partha Sarathi Maharaj. We were making life members in Johannesburg and doing some book distribution, doing Harinam in Hillbrow. And then I returned when we had our center at Cato Ridge. Because of apartheid, People of different races weren't allowed to live together, but they tolerated it if you were on a farm. So we had farms in those days like Cato Ridge. And Partha Maharaj had started the tent campaign. And I also had a little bit of experience with the tent campaign. They got the idea from the Christians doing their revivals and putting up marquees and preaching to everybody how they should, surrender to Jesus. Of course, we were saying surrender to Krishna. And we had a lot of wonderful pastimes. At that time, Partha Maharaj, he stayed in a bus. First of all, it was a bus by itself, and then it became the trailer that could be moved around, and he would stay there in different areas where they would set up the marquee for preaching. And there wasn't much TV or anything in those days. So it was a big thing, and it was safe for people to walk on the street at night. One time Partha Maharaj was taking a rest in his bus in the afternoon, and some people wanted to see him, and there was this boy. He used to call them lighties. So I think Maharaj was really tired and he needed to take rest. And some people wanted to see him, and he told this boy, he said, please tell them to go away. So this boy was not very good with the social graces. And he went to the door and he said, go away. And he went back to Partha Maharaj, and Partha Maharaj said, tell them to go away nicely. And then the boy went to the doorway again, and he said, go away nicely. And sometimes in the tent campaign, we would do havans. And in those days, we had, we didn't have plastic chairs. We had wooden folding chairs. And sometimes when we were doing a havan, we didn't have wood for the havan. We'd break up a chair. And there was some 16 millimeter, The World of Hare Krishna, and when I was preaching in Los Angeles, we had a copy on a Fairchild projector. It was in Hindi. I remember certain things. They were quoting Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was saying, "Main Bhagawan nahi hu, tum Bhagawan nahi ho. Hum sab Parameshwar ke sanatan sevak hain." And at the end, he said, "Ye hey kahani Hare Krishna walon ki." So anyway, we were showing these movies in 16 millimeters, and we had a projector, World of Hare Krishna, Brilliant as the Sun, about the production of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and I forget all of them. Anyway, there were several. We'd show each night, we'd show a 16 millimeter movie. And in those days, in the beginning, there was no television. And they did have shops where you could rent a 16 millimeter film. So it was like the cinemas what do they call the cinemas? Biscope. So it was a special thing for people to watch a movie. So they appreciated the movies. And then he would have competitions. Who could chant Hare Krishna the loudest on this side and that side, and the ladies and the men, and in this way you get people, screaming Hare Krishna, and this way we were engaging people. And then they had a little newsletter called the Hare Krishna Times that they would sell. Remember all these things? Seva Kunj knows. So this was, Partha Maharaj did this, and he got the idea from the Christians, but we Krishnaized it. And then later, I was staying here at this temple after we opened the temple, and one of my duties was to go out and do funerals. And a lot of the people that died, they were Partha Maharaja's disciples, elderly disciples who would pass away. And so I would go to their homes, read from Bhagavad Gita, talk about the soul, talk about devotional service and going back to Godhead. And then we would go to the crematoriums, and Partha Maharaj would come. And he knew all these people, and he would tell a story about, I remember such and such, and he or she was from this place, and they did this service. So Maharaj was appreciating their service, and he would talk about it. And then we also had service groups, now we call Namahatas. So in this way, I've been serving with Partha Maharaj in South Africa for many years. And I'm appreciating him more and more. Obviously, he's much more advanced than I am. I forgot all about my quotes. It's not very long, but very impactful. This is actually referring to, there's 3 references to a quotation from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Prabhupada's referring to it in 3 different places. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Canto 7, Chapter 14, verse 39. In the purport, Prabhupada says, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said that a Vaishnava is he who has helped others become Vaishnavas. And we all have experience of Partha Maharaj helping us personally and other people we know, other devotees, to engage in devotional service. Then from Srimad Bhagavatam 9, 21, 18, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said that a Vaishnava is meritorious in proportion to the number of devotees he has created. A Vaishnava becomes superior not simply by jugglery of words, but by the number of devotees he has created for the Lord. So this is the mood of the devotee, feels compassion, sees. Even Krishna saw that we're suffering here in the material world, and he's teaching us how to leave this miserable cycle of birth and death and return to the spiritual world. The next quote is also Narada Bhakti Sutra 339. Another proof of the power of the Mahatma is his ability to convert non-devotees into saintly persons. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur stated that a Vaishnava can be tested by seeing how good a touchstone he is, by seeing how many Vaishnavas he has made during his life. Lord Chaitanya desired that as many persons as possible should repeat the message of Krishna and convince others to take up Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of Narada Muni and other great acharyas. Jare deko tare koho Krishna upadesh, amar agyai guru hoya tara e desh. So Lord Chaitanya, he said, whomever you see, you should tell them about Krishna's message. And by my order, become a guru and save this country. So we know that Partha Maharaja is a great spiritual master, and he's saved so many of us. And on this blessed appearance day of his holiness, we offer our respectful obeisances unto His Holiness Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaj. Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaj ki.
His Grace Ramanuja Acharya Prabhu ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Thai Gaur Premanande. Thank you so much, Ramanuja Acharya Prabhu. Guru Maharaj is making his way into the room where the presentation is going to be zoomed in from. So it should be a minute or two. We'll have some kirtan in the meantime while Guru Maharaj is preparing to give his address to us.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So it's that special part of the evening where we are very fortunate, very grateful that Guru Maharaj will be addressing us despite Maharaj's situation. He's taken the time to address us, and we are very, very appreciative of that. Guru Maharaj, thank you very much for being here with us. His Holiness Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaja ki. His Holiness Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaja ki. His Holiness Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaja ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Nitai Gora Premanande. We welcome Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj has taught us this. Everyone and
Short here, Rama. Okay. First, I offer my respectful obeisances unto my divine spiritual master. Jayam Vishnu Bhad Paramahansa Parivajakacharya Astatara Sata Shisham, His Divine Grace. A.C. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And I offer my respectful obeisances to my Param Guru, Jayam Vishnu Bhad Paramahansa Parivajakacharya Astotara Sata Shisham Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Yati Namini. I also offer my respectful obeisances unto my Siksha Gurus, Jayam Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Parivajakacharya Astotara Sata Shishma Shri Srimadi's Divine Grace Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, Chotapada Bhakti Gana Vandanam Sabha Echara Krishna Charan. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnavas, neophyte or advanced. So today is few days after my birthday. So it seems that I am 73 today, plus 10 months in my mother's womb. So first I must offer some more prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Vishnaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vacharani. Nivasesha Sanyavari Bhaskajai Desatarani. Om Aginatamurandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshmatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stavatam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Didanti Sambhavantam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tattva Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shirupam Sagrajatam Sagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Shijivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shiva Shavitam Sha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopkanta Radha Kanta Namostade Tapta Kanchan Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamani Hari Pre Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhuvye Vacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhuvye Vacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare Gurave Gurachandraya Radhikaya Tadaya Krishna Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Namastrastam Manamati Sachipucham Atrasarupam Rupam Tasagrajam Uparamaturam Gosavatam Radha Kundam Giriram Mahoradika Madhavasyam Prapto Yasya Prapratito Shri Guru Tanatosmi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. So I'd like to thank all the wonderful Vaishnavas for this festival. And I'd also especially like to thank my godbrothers, His Grace Ramanuja Acharya Prabhu, who is senior to me, joined earlier, and has done much more service to Srila Prabhupada, and also His Grace Madhavi Prabhu, who's worked very hard to establish ISKCON South Africa. And also, I'd like to offer my respects to His Holiness, Ram Govinda Maharaj, who I think is in Lenasia, a very wonderful, sensitive, advanced Vaishnava, Ram Govinda Maharaj. And I'd like to offer my respect to all of you, Chotapada, Bhakti Gana Vandanam. Vandanam. I bow down to all of you Vaishnavas, whether you are more advanced, less advanced, medium advanced, or whether you're not so advanced, or whether you're neophytes. Anyone who's accepted Krishna as the goal of life is a great soul. Srila Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 19, text 17 and 18, he describes 4 types of people that approach Krishna. Those who want material wealth, those who are materially frustrated, Ata Jignasya Atati Jnana Cha Artasaba, those who have genuine transcendental knowledge, and those who are inquisitive. 4 types of people. So you fit into one of these 4 categories. And sometimes, of course, there is overlapping. Then in the purport in chapter 7, text 19, Prabhupada says that anyone, any devotee that approaches Krishna for any reason at all is a Mahatma or a great soul. So Prabhupada is being he's encouraging you. He's encouraging everyone that you can be classified within the group of Mahatma, even if you are approaching Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Jagannath, for any one of these four reasons. This is encouragement. So I wanted to read a section. This is in reference to personal service to the Guru. Of course, when ISKCON first started, the devotees in New York in 1966, they were all doing personal service to Prabhupada. Satsvarup Maharaj was typing, Kirtananda Maharaj was cooking, they were cleaning, and they would have many conversations with Srila Prabhupada, because the ISKCON mission only comprised of about 10 or 12 devotees. But Lord Chaitanya's desire was that ISKCON should become worldwide, not just New York, not just the Big Apple. So hippies. When I came to South Africa, I didn't see any hippies, but England, definitely, and America, many hippies, long hair, moustache, living here, living there. In America, they were living in the Golden Gate Park. They would congregate, play flutes, drums, dance. And the main thing was take drugs. So Srila Prabhupada went into this atmosphere and preached, and many devotees joined him. So that was the second temple. And then the third temple, I think it was Boston, and then the fourth one, Montreal, because Prabhupada had to leave to get an extension on his visa. So gradually ISKCON expanded, got bigger and bigger. And as it got bigger, larger, it was more difficult to talk directly with Prabhupada. You had to talk with his secretary or his cook. It just became more difficult. Srila Prabhupada, my Guru Maharaj, said to Burijan Prabhu, who's also my godbrother, he said, my only regret is that I could not personally train up every one of my disciples. That was what he said. So Prabhupada wanted to personally train, but there were so many. And then 1970, 71, 72, even more. And in 1973, there were 3,000 initiated devotees of Srila Prabhupada. One gentleman wrote a letter from Malaysia, and he was questioning, how is this going to become a worldwide organization? I don't see so many devotees joining. This is written down, this letter. So Prabhupada replied that when you are selling diamonds and emeralds, you don't get many customers. Customers are few. So in other words, Prabhupada was saying it's very rare to become the devotee of Krishna. And then Prabhupada, he said, if 0.01% of devotees of the world become devotees, then the world will change. I read that letter again yesterday night, just to refresh my memory. 0.01% of human beings on this earth planet, if they became devotees, the world would change. And then Prabhupada gave a graphic example. He said in 1966, he said, he started preaching in New York, and he was the only person, he was the only devotee. There weren't any other devotees in Gaudiya Vaishnava devotees in America. There may have been other types, but he was the only Gaudiya Vaishnava, follower of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Prabhupada said that was 1966, and now it is 1973. In 7 years, 3,000 devotees have come forward and become initiated. So Prabhupada said, therefore, it is expanding. Definitely, it is expanding. So this is documented in this letter from a gentleman in Malaysia. So getting back to personal service to the Guru, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 1, text 35, Prabhupada writes in the purport, the service of the spiritual master is essential. If there is no chance to serve the spiritual master directly, a devotee should serve him by remembering his instructions. In his absence, therefore, his words of direction should be the pride of the disciple. So even nowadays, there are over 100 Diksha gurus and also Siksha gurus. It is not always possible to speak with them directly. And of course, many of Srila Prabhupada's early disciples are leaving their bodies and returning to the spiritual world, like Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, Srila Krishnas Maharaj, Srila Bhakti True Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, great devotees. All these devotees were sent, Ahendra Prabhu, Govinda Dasi. They were sent specially by Lord Chaitanya to assist Srila Prabhupada in preaching. And they performed very valuable service. I'll give an example of what is valuable service and what is ordinary service. Let us say you're in the desert and you're thirsty, and you've been in the desert for 2 or 3 days. And someone comes with some water. It's very much appreciated. Would you agree? This is what I want, water. And they brought it to me. So it's appreciated. But if you're not thirsty, let's take another example. You're at home and you're not thirsty. And someone offers you a glass of water. It makes no difference. You're not interested. It's not particularly important. It's not valuable service. So when the service is required and it's given is more important. So when Srila Prabhupada was by himself in America, literally, he really didn't have anyone to help. A few people came forward, like Mukunda Maharaj, Chadarani, a few, Rupanuga, and they helped him. So this service, especially Brahmananda, he was the first temple president in ISKCON in New York, Gargamuni. So when this service was rendered, it was very much appreciated by Prabhupada because it was required. So we should always offer our deepest respects to Vaishnavas, especially these Vaishnavas from the early days who helped Srila Prabhupada when he needed that help. When he needed that help. Like in South Africa, we offer our deepest respect to Shuddhi Prabhu, Rishi Kumar, Jagat Guru Swami, Pusta Krishna Swami, Janaka Raj Prabhu. They all came here. And Gokulendra, who just left his body a week ago. And they helped establish Krishna consciousness in 1972. Shuddhi came in September 1972. And he still comes every year. And a very wonderful devotee. So all these Vaishnavas are very special. And nowadays, Lord Chaitanya is sending more Vaishnavas, second generation Vaishnavas, third generation Vaishnavas, to perpetuate, to continue this ISKCON movement. So when help is rendered, and it's important, when you really need help, then it's more valuable. One Krishna and 1 billion gopis. And by the influence of Yoga Maya, of this 1 billion gopis, they thought they were the only ones. They couldn't see the others by an arrangement of Krishna. Nisham yagitam tad anangavadanam. Nisham, when the gopis heard the sound of Krishna's flute, Nisham Gita, the song of Krishna's flute, then it awakened within their consciousness Ananga. Ananga is Cupid. And their minds became disturbed because of Krishna calling. And when they heard the sound of the flute, they heard their own name. Like when Lalita heard the sound of the flute, she could hear in the flute, Lalita, 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 Lalita. And when Chandravali heard the sound of the flute, she could hear Chandravali, Chandravali, Chandravali. So they all came. They dropped whatever they were doing, decorating themselves, cooking, preparing for their family members, and decorating their bodies. Some of them weren't even properly, some of them have put mascara on one eye and not the other eye. And they got all confused because of Ananga Cupid. And they ran unseen by each other to where Krishna was. And it's described their ankle bells, nirupa, their ankle bells, their earrings, their armlets, they all jingled, and it made a tumultuous sound. Sound, very loud. So the example is Radharani is just about to see Krishna. She's just about to meet Krishna. And all of a sudden, Jatila appears. So when Jatila appears, Radharani is not able to go any further because of their relationship. Jatila is the mother-in-law. Now, if one is able to help or assist Radharani in that particular moment, that service is very much appreciated. An example that you can relate to is a game of football. Let's say Barcelona against Manchester United or Manchester City. And the ball is almost in the goal, into the goalpost. But it's 10 centimeters away. 10 centimeters away from the goalpost. And then it goes backwards. It doesn't go into the goalpost. But if at that time, one of the footballers came forward and helped, then that help would be very much appreciated. Of course, this is a very mundane example. Or I read also that in cricket match, one cricket team, they needed 35 runs to win. And there was only 1 over left. They do 50 overs. And they didn't think they would be able to get 55 runs in 1 over. Over is 6, bowling 6 times. So the man bowled the first time, and the batsman got 6, and everyone was amazed. He hit the ball very hard. And then he bowled again, and again he got 6. And the ball went over the crowd, went outside the stadium. And the 3rd one, and the 4th one, and the 5th one, and the 6th one. And they actually won in the end. So when help is needed or required, it's more appreciated. So in the Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya, he wants this help. And therefore he is sending people like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Gokishore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila Prabhupada, to preach Krishna consciousness. So these people are like generals. They're highly advanced. They're all Mahabhagavats who have voluntarily or by the arrangement of Yoga Maya come down to a somewhat lower level. It's called the Madhyam level, to preach. Madhyam Bhaktas generally preach. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said, and Uttama Bhagavats generally don't preach. So besides sending great personalities like Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Vamsidas Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Prabhupada is, Lord Chaitanya is also sending others, maybe not quite on that same level as Prabhupada, but we have within this ISKCON mission and throughout the world in the Vaishnava community extremely advanced Vaishnavas, and they are spreading Krishna consciousness. And they're doing it in particular ways. It's not that they're all doing it in the same way. Some Vaishnavas, they like building temples. So we see the wonderful example of Ambarish Prabhu being empowered and building this incredible temple. And then other devotees, they like doing parikrams. This would be like Dinabandhu Prabhu, extremely advanced devotee, who willingly takes people out on parikrams. And then devotees translating books. They have an interest in translating, then publishing, then distributing books. There are devotees. Vaisheshika Prabhu is the minister of book distribution. And he's setting a very wonderful example by distributing, putting emphasis on distributing books. And then, of course, Rath Yatra festivals. Originally, it was Jayananda Prabhu, but now others have come forward. So there's many ways in spreading Krishna consciousness, and there's many places to do it. Just like in 1972, Shruti Prabhu came here. And there are some other places where devotees aren't preaching so much. I think especially more Muslim countries, it's very difficult to preach there. But Lord Chaitanya is sending these personalities, and then he's empowering them. So this statement, if there is a chance, the service of the spiritual master is essential. So we have to serve the spiritual master. Diksha Guru, Siksha Guru, Param Guru. If there is no chance to serve the spiritual master directly, that means directly you cook for him, like Shrutikirti Prabhu cooked. He was and massaged Srila Prabhupada and Harisori Prabhu. These two Vaishnavas spring to mind, but others also. So this is like direct service. So if there is no chance to serve directly the Guru, a devotee should serve him by remembering his instructions. And in the absence of the Guru, therefore the words of direction should be the pride of the disciple. So one should become very familiar with the instructions of the spiritual master. And you should make it your life to follow those instructions. Although immediately you may not be able to. And the obvious example is Srila Prabhupada. He was told by his Guru Maharaj, preach to the English-speaking people. So that would have been in 1922. But he wasn't able to. He just had his first son, Prayag, first son. Prabhupada had 5 children. And he had a young wife. But he always meditated on how he could preach. And then the time came when he renounced his family, but he didn't do it in a bad way. He left them with enough money and property. If you play the recordings of Prabhupada speaking with his secretary, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, in 1977, Prabhupada is spending many hours explaining how they should give his ex-wife 1,000 rupees a month, how they should help his youngest son, Vrindavan Chandra, distribute books. And he was concerned, and he was making these arrangements. So externally, he left his family, went to Vrindavan, and then, of course, he tried to preach. But it didn't work because Lord Chaitanya had another plan. So Srila Prabhupada got some practice, definitely. And then he went to, we know this, he went to Boston, New York, and he started preaching, and Krishna consciousness started. So Prabhupada's motive for going to the West was my Guru Maharaj asked me to. So in other words, it was an order of his Guru. So the order of the Guru is very important, and we should really try to follow it. And if we're not able to follow it immediately because of mundane responsibilities, we can follow it later on in life, as Prabhupada did. But those instructions become the pride of the disciple. So the most important instruction of a guru, Diksha Guru, Siksha Guru, Param Guru, is simply to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this has to be done every day, like a mirror. Every day you dust it, not once a month. And if you don't dust it, then it doesn't reflect. It gets covered with dirt and dust, and the reflection is fuzzy. So if you don't chant Krishna's holy name every day, your consciousness becomes distorted or fuzzy. One has to chant every day. And Srila Prabhupada gave us a prescribed number of rounds, prescribed number. So we have this figure 16. So this must be done. If somehow or other, due to a tragic accident or earthquake or a cyclone, you're not able to do all 16 on one day, you must do it the next day. And the best time, obviously, for chanting is early in the morning because the consciousness is more peaceful. I was speaking with one congregational devotee from Phoenix, and he has started going to Mangalati every day. And he said if he goes to Mangalati every day, when he goes to work, there's no problem. He doesn't feel disturbed. And even many of the problems at work seem to get solved very easily. So he's been going for Mangalati every morning. So we should try to rise early. We may not be near the temple, but we try to rise early, 4:30, 5 o'clock. We can sing the prayers, or alternatively, we can play a recording of Prabhupada singing them. We offer the arti. It can be the full arti, or it can be they call it a dup arti, incense, flower, and whisk. A very simple arti. It can take 5 or 6 minutes or 10 minutes. And then we should chant. We should also try to read Srila Prabhupada's books before reading other books by other acharyas like Srila Bhaktivinoda or Srila Bhaktisiddhanta or Gaur Govinda Maharaj. We should first read Prabhupada's books carefully. Ishopanishad was the first book I read, and Bhagavad Gita. I remember at one point I knew 1/3 of the Bhagavad Gita off by heart. But I know Vaishnavas that know the whole Bhagavad Gita off by heart. And I read that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta at the age of 9 could recite the whole Bhagavad Gita off by heart. And then we go to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1 to Canto 9, very carefully reading, taking notes. And then chapter 10. Chapter 10 is the culmination. It's the very essence. it has been described as the face, 10th canto, because it deals with Lord Krishna's pastimes. And another acharya has said that the most important verses in the Bhagavad Gita are Canto 10, Chapter 29, Chapter 30, Chapter 31, 32, and 33. And these are like the 5 life airs. So within the heart, there's life airs, and the soul is balanced on these life airs. 29, Krishna calling the gopis for Rasa Leela. Chapter 30, Krishna vanishing. The gopis looking for Krishna. Chapter 31 is the middle of the middle. So it's considered the most important, and it's called Gopi Geet. It's the songs of the gopis. 19 verses. And then chapter 32 is called Reunion, and then chapter 33 is called Rasa Leela. So of course, at the same time, we should read Prabhupada Lilamrita and Chaitanya Charitamrita. If we're doing a thorough study, then we may stick to one book. But there's no harm in doing a study of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and occasionally, or quite often, just reading anywhere in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Instruction. These are all very important books. And by studying and reading them, we get transcendental knowledge. So this is called Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So this is what we're doing at the moment in ISKCON. Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Vaidhana would mean rules and regulations. The more strict you can become, then the better it is. But remember, the more strict you become, but you can't insist that others become strict, because then it makes them feel inferior, or you come off condescending. So definitely you should be strict, but don't necessarily expect everyone to be so strict. There are the people that drink coffee and maybe get up late, but they chant Krishna's holy name. So they're Vaishnavas. So Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Then at a certain point, when your devotion to Lord Chaitanya becomes mature, at the moment it's not so mature, but as your devotion to Lord Chaitanya becomes more mature, you can go into the realm of Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, which is more advanced. It's based on spontaneous love. Of course, you don't immediately get spontaneous love. It comes gradually. So after some years, 10 or 20 years, you're doing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And then you may do 2 or 3% Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti and 97% Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. And then after a few more years, 90% Vaidhi and 10% Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. And it gradually increases like that. And our goal is actually Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. But Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti is also wonderful. And this is what Prahlad Maharaj practiced, and Dhruva Maharaj, and Hanuman, and the 5 Pandavas, and Bhishma. Their destination was Vaikuntha. And to get to Vaikuntha, you need Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti to mature. You don't practice Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti is only for the residents of Vrindavan. Anuga means to follow, and Raga means Radhatmikas. Radhatmika devotees are the cowherd boys, Mother Yasoda, and the young gopis. These are called Radhatmika devotees. And their love for Krishna is very intense. There's a verse in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Atma Koti Gunam Krishna. So Atma Koti. Koti is 10 million. That the liberated souls have an attachment for Krishna 10 million times greater than the attachment they have for themselves. Atma Koti, 10 million. Atma Koti Gunam Krishna. Paramam Paramam Ada. Nityananda Sava Guna. They have bodies which are eternal and full of bliss. So this is in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Imagine 10 million times more. You're attached to your husband and wife and children, and multiply that by 10 million times. So this is the Radhatmika devotees. And at a certain point, as we advance, by mercy, we will become attached to some cowhead boy, or perhaps Mother Yasoda, or one of the gopis. And this attachment will arise within the heart. It'll just start manifesting. And you'll feel very attracted and very comfortable doing smaranam or meditating on cowhead boy like Madhu Mangal or Sudama or Sridama. And there's millions of cowhead boys. Or you like to think a lot of how Mother Yasoda is serving Krishna, how Kitida is serving Krishna and Radharani. It's the same. That's Sadhi Ras, Purnamasi. And then you may be attracted towards the pastimes that Krishna has with the young gopis, which is very esoterical, very private. And when you're chanting Hare Krishna, you might have some thoughts of Krishna playing with the gopis in the river Jamuna, or Radhakund, or Holi squirting the musk at each other, or on the swing pastimes. Even there's intoxication pastimes, but it's not with the vodka, it's with the honey. And then the arguments, sometimes word games. Pasukrita is a game you play with dice. We don't play it, but liberated souls can play it. Like Kalidas. He used to throw the dice and go Hare Krishna, Sanchaitanya Charitamrita. But we can't do that. It's imitation if we do that. But if we're liberated, paramukti, then we can do it. But even then we wouldn't do it in the material world, because someone in Kharkov or Joburg or Durban, they may see us do it, and then they may do it, and they may be Kanishta Bhaktas. And they'll get ruined. And they may spread bad things about us. So we don't do it. Just like Srila Prabhupada, he's a resident of Vrindavan. The residents of Vrindavan, they don't bow down to Krishna. When the cowherd boys see Krishna in the morning, as the sun is rising, they help dress him. They play with him. They don't do their dandavats. And when Mother Yasoda sees Krishna, she doesn't do a dandavats. And when Chitradevi, Sudevi, Bhadra, Vishaka, Lalita, when they happen to see Krishna, they don't do dandavats. They offer their love by their glances. Their glances are all very beautiful, and by their bodily movements. Nowadays, in this new age, it's become quite popular, bodily language. Every time an interview comes on with Donald Trump, you look at his bodily language, and they try to analyze his body language. Profiling, you can call it profiling. they used to do this. You profile a person. I remember I was reading some books on profiling, and I thought it might help me in Krishna consciousness. Because if you're preaching to someone, you have to know who they are and where they're at. So I was sitting in an aircraft. I was flying somewhere, and sitting next to me was a man, and he was dressed like a Hell's Angel. And he had tattoos all over his hands, and he had biker's boots, and he had the jeans, Levi jeans. I think they have a policy of not washing them. Yeah, the bona fide Levi jeans, it's only bona fide when it stands up by itself because of dirt. So they don't wash it. And he had long hair and little things on his mouth. And I was analyzing him, and I thought, definitely, Hell's Angel, bit of a rough person. I better be careful. I better not look at him too much. Better keep my distance. And then another man walked up behind him and spoke in a very effeminate voice to this Hell's Angel and said, "Oh, how are you? Fancy seeing you here." And then I understood from that he wasn't macho so much. He was a little different. And my so-called profiling was all rubbish. So I made big mistake. So anyhow, our ultimate goal is to develop our relationship with Krishna. Jiva Goswami has said in Das Mula, text number 7, that one should abandon one's gross and subtle concept of life and identify with one's spiritual identity. So what is your spiritual identity? Of course, we know the Jayate Mriyate Vakadacham, you're the soul. But more than that, the soul does things. For instance, the devotee goes back to the spiritual world in a spiritual body and dances and plays with Krishna. As Prabhupada has written in the 8th canto, chapter 24, text 53, the ultimate goal of life is to live with the personality of Godhead, to play with the personality of Godhead, to dance with the personality of Godhead, to eat with the personality of Godhead. The cowhead boys, they even share their own food. They sit on the bank of the Ganges, and the one Madhu Mangal opens his tiffin, and he has some special kachoris. And Krishna, on that particular day, he didn't have those. So he gives it to Krishna. They exchange and they eat together. And then they jump in the water together. And they play leapfrog. And they climb up the trees. And they play games that boys play. And they wrestle. Play wrestling. Just like a father will have a make-believe wrestling fight with his son. And he'll let his son beat him. You know, 6 or 7-year-old boy. But with the gopis, there is mayada. Mayada means etiquette. So it is against etiquette to eat, for the gopis to eat in front of Krishna. So they don't. I saw one picture of the gopis eating and Krishna eating. Actually, they were feeding each other. But that picture is not bona fide. One of the qualities of Radharani, the 15th, Sumadhya. Madhya means mayada, sumayada. Mayada means etiquette. So the gopis cook, and they're very expert at cooking. And then they serve Krishna. And when he's finished, Krishna lies down, and then they get the remnants. They give the remnants to each other. Radharani gives the remnants to Lalita. Lalita gives to Rupa Manjari, who gives to Kamala Manjari. And it comes all the way down to our own guru. And then, of course, we get. So this should be our meditation, actually, when taking prasadam. So one has to follow the instructions of the guru. And my humble instructions will be the same that Prabhupada gave. I'm not powerful enough to introduce some new instruction. If I was on the same level as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, then that would be different. So I'm a very small, insignificant servant of Prabhupada, and my instructions would be the same as his instructions. But his instructions also have to be understood according to time, place, and circumstance. Therefore, there are many contradictions in Prabhupada's books, and there are many contradictions in what he says. So these contradictions have to be reconciled by senior devotees. But the ultimate idea is we follow the mood and the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, who is following the mood and the instructions of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, all the way up to Bhaktivinoda, Srila Narottam, Vishwanath, and the 6 Goswamis. So we can only find out what is Srila Prabhupada's instructions by carefully reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction. So my instruction is that you attempt to read these books. Try to read them, at least in this lifetime. You should have read them all. Of course, some people are very fast readers, and you can read these books in 1 year. But you read and you take notes and you try to follow. And if there is some doubt and you need some points to be reconciled, then you go to senior Vaishnava and ask for some explanation. And then after carefully practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti for some 20, 30 years, you may have some taste for Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti and gradually go into that field. But there again, you need Rasik Vaishnava Guru. You need advice because you can make a mistake very easily. So everything has to be done carefully. But if we're sincere, Radha and Krishna will guide us. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will guide us to make the right decision and to do the right thing. So all of you are very blessed. Lord Srila Haridas Thakur in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he said, Sakala Brahmanda, Jivera, Gucha Bhavaro, that was Vasudeva, actually, Vasudeva Krishna, Vasudeva Dutt. He said, please take all these living entities back to the spiritual world. And Lord Chaitanya agreed. And Haridas Thakur said, Tumi Vaikuntha Paitaba, you've already taken them back to the spiritual world. So anyone who's practicing Krishna consciousness, all of you, even if you're only doing 1 or 2 rounds, but you're trying, and you avoid offenses, you will go back to Godhead at the time of death. You will take birth in Krishna's pastimes, and this is guaranteed. If you do offenses, then it's just delayed a while. That's all. It's delayed. Maybe 1 lifetime. You might have to take birth as a deer, or as a monkey, or as a dog in Vrindavan. But you are guaranteed. What is 1 lifetime? It's 70, 80 years. It's not long. Considering that Lord Brahma lives for 311 trillion years, what is our one lifetime? It's nothing. 70 years, 80 years. So I encourage you to continue cooperating. We would call this institutional cooperation. Cooperation meaning you comply with someone else's desire. Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter to Brahmananda Maharaj, who was the first temple president in ISKCON, in July 1968. And he said, you can memorize this, "You are all limbs of my body. And if you do not cooperate, my life will become useless." I'll say it again. You are all limbs of my body. And if you do not cooperate, my life will become useless. He's also said in a letter in 1973 to the San Francisco devotees after the marathon, that the test of the dedication and sincerity of a disciple to the Guru is how much they will cooperate. That is the test. How much you will cooperate with others and not create factions and go away. But the first one is the easiest one to remember. You are all limbs of my body, and if you do not cooperate, my life becomes useless. So thank you very much. I know this recording is going to many different temples. I personally didn't attend my Vyāsa Pūjā, Radha Radhanath on New Jagannath Puri, or the Johannesburg temples, because my health doesn't allow it. I'm getting older. As Shakespeare said, I have to throw in a Shakespeare quote, otherwise it's not bona fide. Old age, with its clawing steps, has clutched me. Old age, with its stealing steps, has clawed me in its clutch. Quite powerful. Old age, with its stealing steps, has clawed me in its clutch. But on the positive side, our next birth is in Krishna's pastimes, or Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, in this universe. Not necessarily in this universe, but somewhere in one Brahmanda, in one of the universes. Lord Krishna's pastimes are going on right now. Nishingadev's, Ramchandra's, and Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are going on right now in some universe, but not this one, because it took place 5,000 years ago with Krishna and 500 years ago with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So be optimistic. Tolerate, cooperate. I have deep respect for Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj and many, many of my god brothers and god sisters who are doing wonderful work in trying to satisfy Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Varga. So I thank you very much. And I pray that you can all advance in Krishna consciousness. Go Premanandi, Hare 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 Bol. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Divine Grace Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. His Divine Grace Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. Divine Grace Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Vande Rup Sanatana Rabulya Go Shri Jiva Gopala Go. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh,
His Holiness Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaja ki. His Holiness Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaja ki. His Holiness Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaja ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Everyone, please raise your hands up and one loud Hare Krishna for Guru Maharaj. He'll hear you all the way in Hillcrest. Hare Krishna! So I'd like to thank Guru Maharaj for that very inspirational Vyāsa Pūjā class. This room is energized. I'm sure everybody felt that there was no disconnect. He was here. Yeah, like when you offer to Srila Prabhupada the flowers, he's there. There's no disconnect. My Guru Maharaj once mentioned that the Vyāsa Pūjā is there to increase the faith of the disciple. And that's a very powerful point because there's so many gurus having Vyāsa Pūjā. It's a wonderful celebration, but it's there to increase that faith of the disciple. Faith, Shraddha, being the foundation of our entire spiritual practice. And the stronger the faith is, the more it condenses, then the stronger every other anga, every other limb on that 9 processes of bhakti becomes. So this Vyāsa Pūjā is a wonderful celebration with lots of Shakespearean quotes in it. There's more to come. But it's there to increase the faith of the disciple. It's not just to come, observe, take prasadam and go. It's there because that anga is the strongest. And every day when we chant is to actually increase that faith. And that faith will actually take us and carry us and develop the bhakti in our heart. That's what I felt today listening to Guru Maharaj's class, is he's actually increasing our faith. And I want to thank Guru Maharaj, and all of us want to thank him for, despite his situation, making himself available and giving himself to us. He's actually in tremendous difficulty and discomfort, but he's actually making himself available. And we're all very, very grateful for that. And it's by Guru Maharaj's mercy that Shraddha can actually thicken, because our own practice will not move us. It'll be only by the mercy of the spiritual master. So next we're going to move to a next very important part of the program. That is to have more of the appreciations by the senior devotees, and we should be queuing up the video by His Holiness Srila Ram Govinda Swami Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
So obviously for the benefit of the
Param Pujya Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet on this very auspicious day of your Holiness Vyāsa Pūjā. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Ji, it is once, especially mine, the great fortune that one will come in association with the Vaishnava, like
Govinda Swami Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande.
Hare Krishna. Param Pujya Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet on this very auspicious day of your Holiness Vyāsa Pūjā. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Ji, it is once, especially mine, the great fortune that one will come in association with the Vaishnava, like your Holiness, only by the mercy of their Lordships Radha Krishna. Fortunately, I was also blessed by the Lords to have taken your darshana in the holy association of your Holiness. The Lord Narada also, Sri Narada Maharshi also says in Padma Puran that Bhagyodayena Bhajanma Samarjitena Satsangamam Labate Purusho Zavai. Bhagyodayana means by the great fortune that by the mercy of the lordships, when our good fortune awakens, we get the association of the Vaishnava sadhus. So, I always think that it's the great mercy or causeless mercy of their lordships that I got association of your holiness, got an opportunity to get instruction from your holiness. Maharaj, after taking sannyas in 2009, when I came to Durban, I had darshan when you are chanting and going around the moat in Durban in the night. I paid obeisances and introduced myself. You are so kind that though the time your health was not good, but still took me and explained me lot of instructions as the sannyasi one has to do. And the whole you're explaining me, it took almost 1 hour. And you also advised me to read Jaiva Dharma as a sannyasi. One must understand the Jaiva Dharma. So told me to read. And first time I heard the name, I never read before. Then when I went to Mayapur, I got that Jaiva Dharma and read. Really transcendental book it is. How a devotee should conduct himself, one can understand only by understanding Jaiva Dharma. For that I am very, very thankful, Maharaj. You also explained me in that same session that how a sannyasi should conduct himself. And you also advised me, blessed me also that I must preach in South Africa wherever is possible. Maharaj, in the subsequent meetings many times in Durban and in Lenasia especially, Your Holiness was very kind to take some time to explain the process of devotional service and mostly stressed on the Raga Bhakti. I used to read in the Nectar of Devotion about Raga Bhakti. I couldn't get much in-depth understanding of the Raga Bhakti. Maharaj, when you explained in Lenasia, when you were talking separately about the Raga Bhakti, and also in other subsequent meetings, you also explained the Prema Bhakti different divisions also. Though we read the books, we cannot understand unless explained by the Vaishnava. For that I am very, very thankful, Maharaj. Maharaj, you are the personification of all the good qualities of Vaishnava, as explained by the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and also in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, where Lord Krishna also explained various qualities of the Vaishnava in 3 verses in Bhagavatam explains. I can see, not only me, all the devotees can see that Maharaj, you are the personification of all the Vaishnava qualities. You have so much tolerance, no desire for any positions, always peaceful, calm, and always merciful. Just by seeing your holiness, everybody feels happy it is. As Kapila Maharshi says that in Bhagavatam, while explaining to Mother Devati, says qualities of a Vaishnava, Titicha Karunika Surada Sarva Bhutanam Adata Chatrava Sadhava Sadhubhushana. Maharaj, you can see, one can see all these transcendental qualities in you, and we all have to learn, Maharaj, from your holiness. Maharaj, I request sincerely to bless me to acquire some of those wonderful qualities Your Holiness has it, and bless me to continue my service in the service of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Dear Partha Sarathi Maharaj, please accept these few words in glorification of your wonderful qualities. Again, it's like offering a cup of water to the ocean. Ocean of good qualities. In the Upadeshamrita, the 5th verse, Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta dikshasti chet pranatibis chabhajantam isham sushrushaya bhatana vigyam ananyam anya nidadi shunya riram ipsata sangalabhya. One should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to a devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, diksha, and is engaged in worshiping the deity, and one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who has advanced an undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the tendency to criticize others. So, Maharaj, you've been a wonderful example of sincere and dedicated service to Srila Prabhupada and the practice of devotional service for many years. This is from your Struggling Sadhaka collection. This is from Open Letter to Critics from the 21st of August, 1998. So we're 27 years ago. 27 years ago. I was a baby in diapers, practically. My dear critical devotee, please accept my humble obeisance, O glorious Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for pointing out my defects and faults. I want to perfect my service to Srila Prabhupada and his mission, and by pointing out my mistakes, you are helping me. You are assisting me in my attempt to develop tolerance and humility. Without humility, I cannot advance in my spiritual life. According to Srila Sarathi Das Goswami in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there is a direct relationship between humility and one's eagerness to develop love of God. They are in relationship of cause and effect. By your kind criticism, I am being forced to develop my humility and tolerance, and in this way, you are helping me advance. So again, this is from the 21st of August, 1998. The last section here, quote, drink that which is drunk by the honest, and shunned by the dishonest. Humility. Humility is a bitter, a pungent, a burning, a unintoxicating, and revolting medicine. But drink it deeply and regain your sobriety. That's from the Mahabharata retold by Krishna Dharma. Please continue to help me. This criticism is like nectar because it forces me literally to become detached, tolerant, and humble. So, Maharaj, you were speaking such things donkeys years ago. And we were just like in Bhaktivinoda's Thakur's statement, we're running behind you, just yelling Krishna, Krishna. We're just running way far behind you. So you've been very kind and you quote different sections, and we were reading during the week from the Krishna book, Releasing Maharaj from Varuna. And you quoted this to me on different occasions, and I'm very grateful that you're always encouraging me in my devotionals, my tiny little confused and misdirected devotion. Quote, those who successfully practice bhakti yoga, after giving up this present body, go directly to the spiritual world and become situated in one of the Vaikuntha planets. The inhabitants of Vrindavan are all pure devotees. Their destination after quitting the body is Krishna Loka. Section. Just as the sun globe is passing through many places across this earthly planet, so Krishna Leela, or the transcendental advent and pastimes of Krishna, are also going on continually. Either in this or another universe, the mature devotees who have completely executed Krishna consciousness are immediately transferred to the universe where Krishna is appearing. In that universe, the devotees get their first opportunity to associate with Krishna personally and directly. The training goes on, as we see in the Vrindavan Leela of Krishna within this planet. Krishna therefore revealed the actual feature of the Vaikuntha planets so that the inhabitants of Vrindavan could know their destination. So that's from the Krishna book. Then there was another section that we'd like to read. It's very interesting. It's from Prabhupada Leela. It's like volume 7 of the Leelamrita. And Prabhupada had visited Boston for the first time. And it's interesting, and I hope my including it will not be taken inappropriately. When the day came for Prabhupada's departure, the devotees accompanied him to the airport. In the departure lounge, an unknown boy suddenly appeared and sat at Prabhupada's feet. The boy asked, "Can you see God?" "Yes," Prabhupada replied, "at every moment." The boy asked, "Are you liberated?" Prabhupada, "Yes." Then the boy challenged, "Then if you're liberated, why don't you just go back to the spiritual world right now?" Prabhupada said, "Don't be crazy. We go when Krishna desires. We have already surrendered, so we shall go when Krishna desires, just like we have bought tickets for Montreal. So we are assured of going there. But it's not as soon as we buy the ticket, we turn and say, 'Where's Montreal?' No. Everything will happen in due course. We have bought the tickets. We are waiting. Soon the plane will leave." And Jadharani and Govindadasi went onto the plane with Prabhupada because they were so suffering because of Prabhupada's separation from Prabhupada. Prabhupada wrote a letter saying, "Don't be agitated in any way. Krishna is always with you, and he is always your friend. So many disturbing elements may enter into your life, but a devotee is never agitated." So that we have always appreciated your wonderful devotion. You obviously have taken up from a very advanced position in your previous life. So completely fallen souls like ourselves who've just started Krishna consciousness are always in amazement of your wonderful quality of devotion, as was Srila Prabhupada. So wish you all the best for the coming years, and we thank you for your continued guidance and friendship. Wish you all the best for your Vyāsa Pūjā. Your servant, Medhavi Das. Hare Krishna. Wonderful devotion. You obviously have taken up from a very advanced position in your previous life. So completely fallen souls like ourselves who have just started Krishna consciousness are always in amazement of your wonderful quality of devotion, as was Srila Prabhupada. So wish you all the best for the coming years, and we thank you for your continued guidance and friendship. Wish you all the best for your Vyāsa Pūjā. Your servant, Medhavi Das. Hare Krishna.
His Grace Medhavi Prabhu ki. His Holiness Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaja ki. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. Nitai Gora Premanande. So for those who don't know, Medhavi Prabhu is an initiating spiritual master, is a very close, intimate friend of Guru Maharaj, and he joined in the early 70s. He's from Tennessee, I think where Elvis came from. Or is that Tennessee, Nashville, somewhere around there. I was doing some bio research on him. Very, very humble devotee. If anybody knows, very gentle in his dealings, very sweet, wonderful devotee. So we're very grateful that he could make and give us his appreciation. Next, we'd like to play the video by someone who doesn't need any introduction, but obviously we'd like to give Maharaj the glorification. His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj. Maharaj was a very instrumental personality in the development of Krishna consciousness in South Africa and has shared managerial capacities in ISKCON all over the world. And if you follow him on his Facebook page regularly, he is an extremely powerful preacher. And the only question comes to mind is how does he do it? Because Maharaj is traveling all over. So Maharaj will share his appreciation with us.
Hare Krishna, Partha Sarathi Maharaj. Please accept my most humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I have heard that it is your Vyāsa Pūjā day tomorrow, which means 22nd of November. And I was invited, and I thought it was very nice to just say a few words, friendly words of appreciation, having known you now for almost 53 years. That's quite a while. And, I've appreciated the service that you did, that you do, particularly the service you did when we were all raising funds for the construction of Radha. What an experience that was. But you just surrendered to it and just got into it and just did amazing service. You really achieved amazing things in the service of Shri Radha. And another thing I also appreciate very much was that during that period, we'd come back on the weekends and sometimes you would just go out and distribute books in the center of Durban because you felt, because it is preaching and you wanted to preach and you felt the great need for people to receive Prabhupada's message. I really appreciated that. And you know what happened today, 21st of November, let me tell you what happened today, is that we went, a group of maybe 10 of us, it was, not a big group, but just a nice group. We went to, within Vraj Mandala, not far from Varshana, the place of Radharani, we went to Kadamba Kandi, which is not exactly a secret place, but it is not a well-known place, and it is really not a very much visited place, but it is really an exceptionally wonderful place in Vrajmandala. It's like you could say the old Vrajmandala. It is a grove. It's more than just a grove. It's an area like about a kilometer by a kilometer or bit less, a kilometer by half a kilometer, of mainly Kadamba trees, and old ones, big ones, a few new ones, a lot of really big and really old ones. Such beautiful old trees. So we were there for a few hours, this small group of us. And I've been there on a number of occasions, but it was just special today. There was virtually no one there, a few of the local babas. That was essentially it. I noticed the difference when we drove back through Varshana. Varshana was sort of out of control, you could say. Just wild traffic and people and noise. But Kadamba Kandi was silent. It was really quiet, peaceful, and just rich and deep with the presence of Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna. And for those hours, mainly I was sitting down in one particular place by the old little temple. And sure, it was just so nice. And while I was sitting there, from time to time, I was thinking of you and your appearance day tomorrow. Well, when I'm speaking, it's tomorrow. And I was thinking, gosh, you would probably love this place. You would probably love this place, because I know how much you love Vrindavan, more than I do. You love Vrindavan, you're deeply immersed and submerged in Vraj Mandala. So anyway, there I was thinking of you and chanting, for it was just so nice. So anyway, today, the 22nd, is your appearance day festival. And all the very best, just all the very best that I can offer to you. And I don't know what service I could offer, but if there is any, let me know, please. And otherwise, just have a wonderful day with your wonderful disciples, very sincere devotees. I know many, many of them, maybe most of them, but many. And they are just gems through your association and your mercy. So there you go, some words from me. Hare Krishna. I'll see you in a few weeks. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. And I don't know what service I could offer, but if there is any, let me know, please. And otherwise, just have a wonderful day with your wonderful disciples, very sincere devotees. I know many, many of them, maybe most of them, but many. And they are just gems through your association and your mercy. So there you go, some words from me. Hare Krishna. I'll see you in a few weeks. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaja Ki. His Holiness Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaja Ki. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki. Nitai Gaura Premanande. So at this point we have something that's quite unique, very special. It's a special presentation put together by Guru Maharaj's disciples from different parts of the world, mostly Eastern Europe. Despite the difficulties some of them are facing, which we're familiar with in Ukraine and Russia, they've created a very memorable offering. I won't give up too much more, other than to say that this presentation is unique and fit for an Englishman.
As we're chanting God's name, any name of God, we're associating with God. And when you associate with God, you're immediately happy, because God is all happiness. God's all beauty. God wants us to be happy. And we're associating him by chanting his name. So we're happy.
To be or not to be, that is a question that has been pondered by so many for too long. To be, to live each day beneath your care, your gentle guidance and your biased spare. Reviving hearts that once were torn, to love Lord Krishna we are sworn.
Through storm and calm, your voice remains, a soothing song that frees from chains. Your words, like sacred rivers, flow to cleanse the hearts that yearn to grow.
In every step, your mercy shines, revealing truth through subtle signs. You teach us how to truly see that love for God is liberty.
Through Partha Sarathi's sturdy hand, we learn to serve, to understand why Prabhupada's mission light can bring us further than mortal sight.
It lifts the soul beyond despair and plants devotion pure and rare. Through words of truth and acts of grace, we find our home, our rightful place.
I'm sure most of us would like to watch that again a few times. So that's put together by the devotees internationally. Be very, very sweet to watch that presentation. Next, we're going to call Balaram Prabhu. Balaram Prabhu is one of Maharaj's senior disciples, and he's going to share some very, very exciting news, which for the PSDG Media Library that we have, Guru Maharaj's electronic literary collection. It's got lots of audio-visual features on it. So Balaram Prabhu is going to be sharing a new feature that's going to be added very, very soon. Balaram Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So this presentation is about 2 to 3 minutes only. I know you've been very patient and we really appreciate that. It's going to be accompanied by a slideshow. So that's going to be projected from somewhere far out from here. So because of the time lag, we're just going to wait until it comes on. But maybe I can just start by telling you that there's a group of devotees that serve as the organizational team for the group called PSDG Connect. Some of you may be aware of PSDG Connect. And if you're not, I can just remind you, this is the group that has facilitated the weekly classes that Maharaj gives to us every Sunday evening. So this is the group that facilitated that. And this initiative that I'm going to speak about is also an initiative of PSDG Connect. And there is one more that is noteworthy, and that is, this is the group that put into effect the new website that we have for Maharaj. It's called psdgoswami.com. So that's the website that exists, and all of Maharaj's lectures are available there. So this is the third initiative. It's called the Digital Project. And we can go to the next slide. You're all aware that currently Maharaj has many publications to his name. And you probably have had these books for a period of time. They were available for quite some while. They were available outside the temple, even today, in the tent that we had available. So we thought that it would be a good move to go digital with Maharaj's publications. So we had some interaction with a platform that allows for ebooks. And this platform is called Snaplify. And we have signed an agreement with them for, at the moment, 2 of Maharaj's books to go online as ebooks that is now available to everyone. And the 2 that we chose from that list, one is Das Goswami Reflections, and the other is Bhakti, an Affair of the Heart. Next slide, please. Even though we've chosen just these 2 for now, the intention within the next month is to have all of Maharaj's publications go online and become available as ebooks. And I think a lot of you might be aware that there are many advantages of ebooks. There are many of us who would still like the printed book that we can hold and open and put away and pick up again. We get attached to that. Maharaj's publications come under the banner of the Madhurya Vaishnav Literature. That's a company under which all Maharaj's publications go. And these are the 2 books that I was speaking about that are available. The first one, Bhakti, an Affair of the Heart, and the other one is Das Goswami Reflections. Now, these pictures that you see here are taken from the Snaplify website, where the books are now already available. Just yesterday evening, we got news that the uploads that we did are now live, and these books are available on this retail platform called Snaplify. So this is quite an amazing achievement. It's the first time that the books of Maharaj have gone online. So we are going to be making, through the different groups that we have, available to you the link that you can click on that will take you to the Snaplify platform, where you can purchase the books online like how you would do any other online purchase. The amazing thing about ebooks is that this particular one comes with a perpetual license, which means that it will be with you for always. And you can access it on your phone, you can access it on a tablet, you can access it on your computer. You're allowed to access it on 5 different devices that you have. And what is also amazing is that there's no geographical boundary, worrying about printing and then trying to get it packaged, paying high costs for courier charges and trying to get it to all different parts of the world. And Maharaj has disciples in so many different parts of the world. But this is so easy. By the click of a button, Maharaj's words and thoughts and reflections can become available to everyone, anywhere in the world. And we will be then, as I said, sharing with you a QR code and the link by which these books can be accessed. We are looking forward to everyone's support, and that will encourage us to do more in terms of providing the service to you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande. So it's been a wonderful evening. A highlight was the appreciations by the senior devotees, and no doubt Guru Maharaj's very, very inspirational class. We'd like to thank you. The entire Vyasa Pūjā committee would like to thank all of you for physically coming, making the effort to be here with us. We're very, very grateful and very honored to have you here. We'd also like to thank all the devotees who have contributed in one way or the other, whether small, medium, or large, in whichever capacity, to help make this Vyasa Pūjā celebration take place. And we also want to thank one devotee. His name is Sakshi Gopal Prabhu. He's all the way in, I think, in Mayapur. He's been handling all the facilitation for the technology that is behind the interface that we've been watching on this side. And also we'd like to thank Nash Prabhu. He's sitting there with the mustard kurta top. Yes, that is mustard. I've got my glasses on. So thank you very much to these Prabhus who have really assisted us. Thank you so much. May we give them a round of applause, please. Okay. And as disciples, we don't need any thank you because we are the hosts. Everyone else is the guests. We're coming now to the last part of the program. This part here is a part where we get to, a lot of memories are coming back. Normally Guru Maharaj is sitting and everyone's clamoring around. That's going through my head right now. And you're getting ready to pull the garlands out. So this next part here is where the devotees will come forward and they will be offering, well, Guru Puja is going to take place to Guru Maharaj. And then simultaneously, while that's happening, we'd request the ladies, all the Matajis, you can please form a line on that side. You can not just yet, it's fine. On that side, then you'll form the line. There'll be ushers that will be directing you here to come and offer your flowers to Guru Maharaj during the Guru Puja. All the Prabhus, if you can form a line onto that side there, allow the elderly devotees on either side to be given preference. That's the nicest thing to do. Then the Prabhus will enter from that side, offer. And then as they make their way, we suggest you offer your dandavats at the back, maybe on either wing or either side, and not in the middle, because somebody may trip over you. That'll be a trip hazard. All right, so we can do that. And let's just see any other information we need to keep you aware of. It has to be prasadam. Sarira Vidyajal. Okay. Yeah, before the prasadam, there's another small announcement. Those who have garlands, I'm sure some of you do have garlands with you. You're welcome to bring that forward. You don't need the Prabhu to then put that on for you like you used to previously. Matajis, you got a shot right now. You just go there and you physically offer it. That Prabhu will not stop you at all. Right? If he knows what's good for him. And then prasadam, the devotees have worked tirelessly and they've put together a really, really nice feast. I've got a small snippet of it, oral snippet of it. It's a very nice prasadam. We request all the devotees to please stay. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj said a wonderful thing. He said to associate with the devotees is the most powerful thing in our spiritual life. And he said to take Krishna prasadam is also the most powerful things. But he said when you put those two things together, and some Gavaskon, that is fantastic. So we'd like all of you to stay and associate, and that's where the real nectar is when you're disassociating with the Vaishnavas. Thank you very much for coming. We're very humbled and very grateful and very thankful, and we'd like to carry on glorifying our beloved spiritual master. His Holiness Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaj Shri Vyasa Pūjā ki. His Holiness Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaj Shri Vyasa Pūjā ki. His Holiness Srila Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaj Shri Vyasa Pūjā ki. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. Nitai Gaura Premanande. If anybody has any gifts of any kind, there's a devotee here. His name is Yudhishthir. He'll be collecting those gifts from you and he'll make sure they go all the way to Guru Maharaj, right? Thank you.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Namo Vishnu Padaya Iti Namine Das Goswami Nam Bande Nam Bhajana Samsrayam Yamya Dese Guru Desha Stapakam Srita Vatsalam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pastucha Desatharine Samsaradhava Naralida Loka Tranaya Karunya Gana Ganatva. Okay. Can you go back? Praptasya kalyana gunanavasya Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinda Mahaprabhu ki tan nitya gita Paditra madhyan manasora sena. Yeah, that's fine. Romanchakampa bhajo Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindam Sri Vigraharadhana Nityanana Sringharatan Mandiramajanado Yuktasya bhamta nirajita topi Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindam Chaturveda Sri Bhagavat Prasada Swadani Triptan Hari Bhakti Sangan Krideva Triptim Bhajata Sadeva Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindam Sri Radhika Madhavayo Apara Madhurya Leela Gunarupa Namna Pratishanasva Dhanalulapasya Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindam Nikunjayono Ratikeli Sidyai Yaya Viryukti Repikashaniya तत्रतिदक्षा नतिबलभास्य वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणरविन्दम् साक्षादत्रिद्वेन संसस्तशास्त्रे उक्तस्तकभयत एव साधि किन्तु प्रभूये प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणरविन्दम् यस्य प्रसादात् भगवत् प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादात् ननगीततोऽपि दयांस्तुभंस्तस्य यस्य स्त्रीसन्ध्यं वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणरविन्दम् संसारधावान् नरलिदलोका प्रणय कारुण्य गणगणात्वा प्रप्तस्य कल्याण गुणानवास्य वन्दे गुरु श्री चरणरविन्दम् जय गुरुदेवा 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 जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा 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 जय गुरुदेवा जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव 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 नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी निति नामिने नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pastajade Satarine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pastajade Satarine. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gora Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Radhanat Radha, Radhanat Raje. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani. Jaya Goranita, Jaya Goranita, Goranita, Jaya Goranita. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Sri Radha Radhanath ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanandi.
Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Prahlada Ladadayine, Hiranyakashipurvakshaha, Lila Chankana Kalaye Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsimha Yato Yato Yamitato Nrsimha Nrsimha Bahi Nrsimha Hridaye Nrsimha Nrsimha Madim Sharanam Prapadyen Tava Kara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Singam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Danubringa Keshevadita Narari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Narsingadev 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 Jaya Narsingadev Jaya Jaya Lakshmi Narsinga Jaya Lakshmi Narsinga Jaya Lakshmi Narsinga Jaya Lakshmi Narsinga Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya 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 Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jai Shri Shri Lakshmi Narasimhadev Bhagavan ki Jai Jai Shri Ananta Shesh ki Jai Jai Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai His Holiness Partha Sarathi Das Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari